Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready here to rumble!
He's taken another one, and Howard Foster has stopped it! Wow! That is going to be controversial!
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it! It must finish it!
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab, eats a right hand, another right hand, and he goes down! Oh my goodness!
The dream is made real! Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend! He is the champion of the world!
Yes. It's Raps on TV, back again. As men like Troops will say, probably very happy out there with the news of Arsene Wenger sacking. So that tells you that it's been a lot happening in the last 7 days since we caught up. But happy to be back as usual. Got to say a big thanks to everybody that's subscribing. Please keep liking us and subscribing on YouTube. But you're downloading the iTunes. Those of you that are on Androids, I know you're feeling the new Raps on TV app. More news to come about that soon. But generally, it was a busy weekend. One of those weekends where basically my YouTube download or streamage went up probably about tenfold. But on the agenda this week, we're definitely going to be talking about Khan's impressive stoppage of Lo Greco. What will this do for Matchroom and Khan himself? Also going to get into Broner's draw with Vargas, right decision. What do we feel about Broner in general? And on that card, we saw two impressive stoppages from men like Tank Davis in the third round of Quayla and Charlo, and we're also going to talk about who he called out, which is the winner of the Farmer versus Dib fight. Over to men like Inam, who's back in the studio. Bonjour, guten tag.
Bonjour, guten tag. Man, missed a great show last week. I wish I was here to see the legend that is Malik Scott.
Big man Malik.
Anyway, we're also going to be talking about Frampton, the Jackal, taking on Donaire, and that love fest afterwards in Belfast. We're also going to talk about Charlo getting a great KO. Is it time he now fights for titles? And of course, it's Danny Jacobs and Jarrell Miller, Matchroom USA's fight card this weekend, where Eddie Hearn and Co are going to be flying out. And hopefully they come back signing and stealing this wilder fight that everyone wants. Don't forget to join us live as we discuss the fight and all this and everything that's happening this weekend. Calling the studio on 01506 243 403. That's if you're in the UK. And +1 818 794 7004 if you're from the US and you want to call in. Over to you.
Yes. So good weekend of action last week. Man like Amir Khan, fresh out the jungle. Made his debut, I guess it's fair to say, in Liverpool, returning to the UK scene for boxing after a good few years out, and obviously the spectacular knockout, which people might even start downplaying now with all the kind of sort of drama surrounding Canelo. But obviously his last fight was indeed against Canelo, where he was knocked out. Good to see him back. I guess it was in terms of a weekend, typical Matchroom card where they display some of their younger talents as well. But in terms of breaking down the fight, it's going to be very difficult because the Olympian that is Amir Khan took care of Lo Greco inside 1 minute. And what I'm not being in the arena, seeing on the TV, I mean, the crowd really went into a frenzy. So, Inam, what did you make of the fight? And as a direct question, can Khan be criticised for that performance?
I don't think he'd be criticised for the performance. I think in some ways he is vintage Khan when he first started. He was blowing people away.
Fair enough.
Right at the start of his career, that's what he was doing. I think we learned that don't say things about his wife, maybe.
Yep.
Possibly.
Yeah.
You know, after Lo Greco went down, when he came up, he had this look of demoralised shock on his face. He's like, what am I doing here? You know, he's like, you can see like, what is going on here? You know, but look, the guy was out for 2 years. He needs something like that, you know. I know a lot of Brook fans are just jumping on saying the guy's a bum. But the point I'm sort of trying to make to Brook fans is this, look, right, the holy grail of calling Brook a good fighter, right, is Sean Porter. That is the only claim, right, that you can say, who did Sean Porter beat?
Fair point.
Who Kell Brook beat that's good, yeah?
fair
Sean Porter,
Yeah.
right? So Sean Porter didn't stop this guy.
Yeah.
Sean Porter was taken 10 rounds by this guy,
Yeah.
So if this guy is taking 10 rounds by Sean Porter and you're calling him shit,
Yeah.
that means you're calling Sean Porter shit. That means Kell Brook still doesn't have a serious fight on his record.
I guess there's
so,
a chain.
You know?
I mean, for me, I will say, firstly, I would definitely say that in terms of Khan and the opponent, I think it's a bit harsh to really say that the opponent was rubbish or shit because it basically, you got to look at it as not necessarily comparing who he's fought. This wasn't a David Demori or whatever that guy's name was when Hay made his return into boxing. It's not that bad. Do you see what I'm saying in terms of those type of guys? So for me, credibility wise, it's fine. And ultimately,
Is it better than Jojo Dan and Bizier?
I'll be honest, I don't know because I don't know Lo Greco that much and I haven't really studied him. But if you was to say compare the two, you would probably say he's a bit more heavier in terms of the fact he's fought Spence Jr. and Porter. But at the same time, if they were to fight, I don't know. But what I will say is going into this fight, I'm pretty certain everybody would have said Khan can win, but he can't get hit. He has to make sure he doesn't get hit. And if you look at it on that basis, well, not only did he not get hit, he didn't even let it go past the first round. So I think it's hard to criticize. I think overall it is tough for him in terms of what he does next. I'm sure we'll get into that later. But I think performance-wise, it's tough to read anything because you can't say the jab was great. I mean, what he did show was probably a killer instinct that I know you went back, good point, going back to the guys, how he started his career, but those guys, were really tomato cans in essence. Now, for him to be doing that now, I think we haven't seen that in at least a good 4 or 5 years from Khan. So for him to show that killer instinct in terms of once he knocked him down the first time, he went straight at him. I think that's impressive. I've never been Khan's biggest fan, but I've also never been his biggest critic. But I would say, I think he's made the welterweight interesting again. Not interesting again, but he's made it more interesting now because you throw his name into the hat of the guys that's out there.
I think his next fight is what's going to be interesting, right? That's when we're going to really learn something, you know? And I think he has to step it up now, right? It doesn't matter if he went one round with this guy. You've had your sort of like ring rust removing fight. You know what I mean? You can't have another fight like that. You can't afford it for time wise anyway. So I mean, like, we're talking about what's next for Khan. He's talking about Broner. I would really like to see that fight.
I think that's
What do you think of Broner, the Broner fight?
I think that's a good fight to make. I think one thing we just got to maybe put to the side is with this 3-fight deal he has with Matchroom, I think it's going to be it's highly unlikely he's going to get an opportunity to either fight for a belt straight in his next fight or become a mandatory. So I agree with you. I think I'd say he's potentially even got options. I think a fight like Broner is good because there's a good chance that he can beat Broner. I think it's a big name that even if you fight in the UK, you might not. I mean, you're definitely going to sell out the O2 Arena, Khan versus Broner. MEN Arena, Khan versus Broner. I would say probably maybe even a stadium arena that's got about 35,000 people. I think you could sell it out with that as a headline act. So I think that will be a really good fight. I know the next question is who do you think would win? I think it's a tough one because what I saw from Broner this weekend is that he's still got the ability to throw big shots. And Khan's question marks is always kind of going to be, what is his chin going to be like? But I think in terms of work rate, I would put Khan ahead. And I think we know that work rate is Broner's weakness. So I think there's a very strong chance that Khan beats him.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. I think, this sort of reminds me of, it'd be a bit like the Devin Alexander fight. Yeah, except Broner might be slightly stronger than Devin Alexander.
And a bigger name. Yeah. But I know what you mean.
So I think he will completely outbox Broner. Yeah, because his work rate is very poor at the moment, right? And in terms of stopping, See, Broner hasn't really stopped anyone at 140 or 147 pounds.
Agreed.
Not a single person.
Agreed.
He did put Sean Porter down, but that was more like he was off balance.
Yeah, I mean, but he still put him down.
Yeah, you see what I'm trying to say, yeah? So, like, it wasn't like a concussive put down, like he came up like, oh, he was hurt. You know, it was more like he was off balance.
I know what you mean.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, you see what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
To me, it was like he was probably more off balance and he couldn't off balance. So, I've not seen anything at that weight level that makes me think he will knock down Khan.
I think for me, the key definer is that both of them are not natural to that weight.
Yeah.
Garcia knocked out Khan at 140.
Yeah.
And even apart from Garcia, I think most of the guys Broner fights, even that once he starts, not even finding his rhythm, but once he starts letting the shots go, I feel that you see the damage he incurs on them in terms of their face. Even Vargas, he didn't outwork Vargas at all. But the shots he was landing, you know, just seemed to have more of an impact, especially the headshots. So that's where, for me, the fight is interesting. But honestly, I think closer to the time, if that happens, yeah.
Going back to Brook, right? Besides this domestic rivalry, why should he fight Brook?
The money. I mean, is that the money's linked to start?
You know,
but yeah, outside
there's a lot
of that,
people that are like demanding this fight, right? But right now, Brook is a 154-pound fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Khan is a small 147-pound fighter.
Yeah.
You've got to remember, this guy started at 135 pounds. He started at 135 pounds, right? So, you know, he's still very much, you know, expecting a smaller fighter to go up and. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
No, I get that, and especially because, like you said, Brook's gone up. I think the problem is that. And I think, you know, this fight is a good example of like where we never say, I prefer never to say people aren't finished, because you're looking at two guys that have had, you know, you could argue bad stoppages, Brook 2, Khan 1, especially, you know, Canelo, but yet the opportunity to make that fight still attracts a lot of attention. And I think that's all it is. It's just the attention, because we never saw it. We never saw it a few years back when we really wanted it. And yeah, for me, I think nothing's changed. I think, if I'm being honest with you, I would like to say that fight, we should see it next. The reason being is I think Khan, obviously, he's got Ramadan coming up soon. Brook will maybe take another fight in the summer. And then at the end of the year, I think that could be a massive fight if they could get that made.
Should Brook have gone into that ring after that fight?
I mean, 100%. That's how I like my boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you think he performed well?
No, I think he got done.
It was so bad, I thought. I felt sorry for him, I have to say. It was cringe-worthy.
The thing is, the
he
problem
like
is...
start crying.
Okay, and you know what? Actually, so maybe I should answer that. Should Brook... I like boxers to get into the ring, and you know I've said it
Put it
Wilder.
on.
I like that, to just create a bit more of a buzz.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Brook wasn't fast enough on his feet. So no matter what, I think the buzz that Amir Khan's going to have after he just destroyed Lo Greco is going to be on the next level. And he was clearly a better, more articulate boxer, in my opinion. And I just think he just laid it on him. Unfortunately, he's like, I'm chasing you. And even the fact that Amir walked away and then said that and walked away. Brook's talking about that a day later. Well, it's too late.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he's calling him, and the guy's not coming back.
Amir.
Amir.
And
Amir.
I mean, my wife's like, is he saying Amir or Amir? I'm here.
Amir. That was so bad. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so he looked like, as soon as the camera sort of turned on him, like, I want the fight. The fans want the fight.
Yes.
He looked like he's going to start crying, you know?
I think the pressure was not too much, but the pressure was definitely up there. So for me, I definitely think for me, the key thing with that fight is I think we're going to see an interesting few more fights from Khan. I think that's much we can say, because one of the key takeaways for me was Eddie Hearn. And Eddie Hearn's aura all around that night.
He
and
was
the post, he was buzzing
man.
because he knows
You can see the money.
he can see the money. Khan's a mainstream, like it or not.
Yeah.
Look at all the people that went into his change room after the fight. And even those guys that probably didn't know much about boxing, probably saw him in the jungle thinking, yeah, whatever. I heard that he's got a weak chin. To go there and witness him beat, I mean, it must have been a wicked thing, like a moment to watch.
Yeah.
So for me, now they're going to kind of be hooked.
Yeah.
They're going to want to try and tag onto that. What does that mean? More notoriety, more mainstream, and you could see in Eddie Hearn's face, like,
He
fucking
was
hell.
jizzing, man.
He's gonna make, and also like, don't get it twisted. Like,
He literally looked like he
Khan
put
is
to one side.
Khan
Yeah.
is the second biggest name in Matchroom.
Oh, 100% after Joshua.
right?
Yeah, I mean that's how he came across when Eddie Hearn's been interviewed. You look like he's gonna burst, man, at some point. You know, when they're talking about Brook, it's almost like say, look, man, forget. I don't want to hear about Brook. You know, yeah, maybe you can fight Brook, but forget him. I've got so many other plans.
But no, I think deep down, I think that's what he knows. I think even more of the money in my angle is like it's because he's seeing the Brook and Khan or Khan and Brook fight, and I think he knows. I mean, look, he said Wembley Stadium. I can't agree.
Oh, yeah,
Can't
he
disagree
said
with that.
look, if I drop this fight now, Wembley Stadium, the tickets will go instantly.
I think you can't disagree with that.
Yeah, I can't.
So what's next for me, bro?
Yeah. Why do you feel Khan is so unpopular with the British fans?
Again, I think maybe not British fans. I don't know. Okay, I think if I'm going to be totally honest, I think boxing fans are more hardcore, more because of the statements he's made. So it's like I said to you, I'm not his biggest fan. I feel it's because of the statements he makes. And then, obviously, unfortunately, he's on knockout reel, so it just makes it easier to take the piss out of him. I think there's probably some fans that didn't like him because, you know, they felt maybe he switched allegiance from Britain to Pakistan. But yeah, I think from a pure boxing perspective, I would say it's more likely to be because they just talk a lot, you know, and it's like Pacquiao, Mayweather, yeah, that's okay, yeah, fair enough. I understand why you feel you should be fighting those guys, but actually, is it really warranted? So I think that's the bottom line.
At this point in time, I mean, like now he's been away for 2 years. He's changed his mindset. I mean, should they still be after this performance? Should they still? It's relentless.
Okay, so I have to say, after this fight, maybe going into it, I know there's definitely questions, especially
the amount of
but
pain,
afterwards, I don't know. I mean, I have to be honest. I haven't checked social that much since the fight, but from what I've heard, I mean, it's been mainly positive, and most people just like.
I mean, that's the case, it's good, but I mean, like everything I've seen on social media is just.
Yeah. And no, don't forget Brook fans. You're going to get Brook fans, especially that will, no matter, you know what it's like. It's just, unfortunately.
It's boxing, isn't it? It's tribal.
That's what it turns into.
You know?
You're seeing it with Wilder, Joshua. You're seeing it with Golovkin and Triple G. You've seen it maybe with Pacquiao. It's just one of those things. So let's quickly talk on the Frampton Donaire fight.
Frampton took on the current opponent in Donaire in his hometown. What did you make of the fight?
Again, very briefly, I think it was a good performance from Frampton. Technically, he was able to show that he's a sound boxer. Again, using his jab, the foot movement that he's got. I was impressed with the fact that he took on a challenge like Donaire. It's one of those banana skin type fights where if you're not on your game, you could potentially lose. Donaire's not a beast as he was, but I still think, you know, he's definitely somebody that was up for the fight. And I think, overall, for me, it was definitely a good fight. I mean, yourself, did you catch most of it? What was your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, I saw the last bits of the fight. To be honest, I personally didn't take away too much from it. I think it was expected Frampton to win. Mm-hmm. You know, it's one of those fights where. You get an ex-champion at the tail end of his career. Mm-hmm. You beat this guy. You know, most people don't know him, so you can fill out a stadium, get a good name on your CV, and it's a keep warm fight for ultimately the winner of Selby Warrington. Yeah. That's effectively what this fight was about. You know, so leading on to the next question. Should Frampton be in Leeds for the Selby Warrington fight?
I say 100%. I'm 100% that he should be there. I think, we're at a stage in boxing now where there's a lot of fights to be made. And I think these guys should take out, somebody that's I like seeing a lot of at the moment is Spence Jr. He seems to be at a lot of fights. And I think these boxers in general should take that approach. Be at fights where your competitors are, or guys in your division are. So where they'll be fighting. So 100%. I mean, I do think it's going to be mental, and in a few weeks we'll touch on that fight. But yeah, if Frampton can be there, I think he should 100% be there. What about you?
100%. And I think it's most likely is going to be there. I think that fight is given. I think it's expected. I think, it's a given. They're all in the Warrington stable, in the Warren stable, and I think it's pretty clear that's what's going to happen. Yeah. And he should be there, to build up the fight. Yeah.
So moving on to another guy, controversial, the character that is Mr. Adrian Broner, about billions. Definitely hyped up his headline show in New York with what some would say is more than a lively press conference where he fired shots at LBA Mayweather Promotions. Then he had some internet beef with Inam's favourite rapper, the guy with the rainbow hair. And then,
Tekashi 69.
yeah, and that definitely brought more attention to the fight. But overall, the fight was scored a draw. You feel that was the right decision? And what was your thoughts on the fight?
First of all, you got it wrong, man. Tekashi 69 isn't my favourite rapper. It's Vanilla Ice.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't forget that, yeah.
But he's old school. We're talking new generation, you know.
Nah, man, I still like that little. There's another little something. There's another with the rainbow hair, I think, you know.
You lost me. Right?
Yeah, there's all this new mumble rap shit, man. There's all this like they're all called Lil something, Lil this, Lil that.
Yeah,
man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm old school.
Yeah, but anyway, the fight was scored a draw. I think, Broner lets himself down, man.
Yeah.
Typical, exactly what's happened in this fight. Just didn't do enough for me. Vargas was doing more of the work, although Broner was probably catching him clean more often.
In the later
I think the draw was the right decision. I think a rematch should be taken, should be had. Neither was deserving of the win, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think, unfortunately, it's the same old from Broner, especially when he seems to be stepping up in weight classes. It's literally, he just doesn't do enough. We know he's got fast hands, but he's just not letting the hands go. I feel that, early on
Is it
in
a
the
confidence
fight.
thing?
I don't know. I think it's an arrogance thing, which, like for me,
I
think...
read somewhere that, he's suffering from a lack of confidence, right? And this whole bravado is to cover that up. And hopefully over time, don't get me wrong, this performance was much better than his performance with Mikey Garcia.
100%.
Right?
Didn't turn up.
So working with Cunningham, I think slowly by slowly his confidence is going to come back.
Okay, so I have to say, I do disagree, and I think, if anything, it's his first fight with Cunningham, but unfortunately we're seeing the same traits. His corner are always telling him to increase the pressure, increase throwing your shots. Clearly he works hard to get himself, this time in shape or on weight, but it's just like, listen to your corner. So from the second, third round, they're telling you, fire, let shots go, and you're not, and then...
Why do you think that is? Do you think he just doesn't have the energy?
I don't know if it's the stamina thing. I don't know if he thinks he can get the knockout. I do think it's a bit of arrogance because at the end of the day...
Why do you think it's arrogance?
In a sense of, one, he's not listening. Two, whenever he finishes a fight, he never finished a fight, apart from the Garcia one where he got humbled. Wherever it's close, he's never... and I'm talking immediately. Forget half an hour later and then you get to do a YouTube interview. I'm talking immediately. He's always arrogant. He's always downplaying his opponents. He's always... a bad loser, and to me that's an arrogant sign, because I would say 90% of boxers, when the fight is finished, they turn around and they hug it out and they say a little word to each other, and even if in the prelude they're kind of like giving each other a lot of shots, taking a piss, when the fight is finished there's a lot of respect and mutual respect and humility, and he never shows that. So I'm like, you know what, fuck this guy. Yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. So
I think he ain't got a fan base, has he? Really? How he gets good money for a fight?
Because people pay to see him lose. So what you're seeing is really the Mayweather 2.0, in a sense that this guy came in with the same brash attitude, but he's not. He can't back it. He can't back it up.
He's just losing.
Yeah, so people are actually paying. They're like, oh yeah, as long as they know it's a reasonably tough opponent.
One of the greatest moments in boxing history is probably when Maidana beat the shit out
of him.
Yeah,
I mean, unfortunately, that was like that was probably for me the start of the meme generation.
Oh, 100%.
Because all of a sudden on my phone, this guy you see problem solved. Like,
what a name.
Getting carried out the ring, like literally being held up, his jaw like. So no, for me, I think it was a good fight. So yeah, definitely worthy of a rematch.
I think so. Well, whether it's worthy of a rematch, it's a shit fight. I don't particularly want to see it again.
Yeah.
You know, I think they just should move on, mate.
Yeah.
Do a draw, just carry on.
You think go back to Khan, yeah?
Yeah, go back to Khan, man.
Okay.
Either of them could fight Khan.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's what I was going to say. I think if Vargas Vargas is a tougher fight.
Vargas is a tougher fight. I think so. Yeah,
like it's definitely with the styles.
Yeah,
like he's going to want to go toe to toe. What impressed me with Vargas, which we didn't even really touch on, we didn't say it. For me, what impressed me in the fight was that he clearly started the fight strong. He led. Took the early rounds, and I think what happened was once Broner started getting his rhythm, it was quite clear he was losing those rounds. In the later rounds, where for me they were very close, 50-50s, where because Broner would hit him with a big right, but actually he wouldn't wobble Vargas, and Vargas could reply, and he countered. So he countered his counters quite often, which I was impressed with. I think he's done himself a bit of credibility as well. So yeah, we're gonna go out to the lines. I can see we've got one caller on, so we're just gonna open it up. 348. Hello.
Joe and Ann, how you guys doing?
Yes, man. Like Tom, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad.
Good. What's on your mind, mate? Busy weekend of boxing.
Yeah, just good week of boxing. Obviously, Khan's emphatic win. I was watching that, and I was quite impressed with Gervonta Davis and Jamel Charlo, their performances as well, and good to see Davis back to his focus and dedication, and not being sidetracked by all the fame that was around him when he was on the Mayweather-McGregor undercard. So it's good to see that his focus is back and proving himself as an elite fighter.
Definitely, no, I agree with you. He looked really good on the scales coming into the fight, and I think overall his performance, I agree with you. I think he looks like he's got a bit.
The way he made the weight as well, very comfortable.
Exactly, and he's moved. He's no longer training in Vegas as well, so that's something he felt Vegas was wrong for him. It's probably a fair decision now, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely. Probably what he needed to, move out of Baltimore and all the distractions being taken away from him and just focus on his boxing, because everyone knows he's, extremely talented, and to be able to, showcase himself on such a big stage like the Broner Vargas undercard, people are going to start to take him more seriously now and not be, oh, he's like a Broner where he's, sidetracked by the money, the fame, and he's just solely focusing on his boxing, which is good to see.
Yeah.
A point I wanted to raise, though, he's won the WBA world title, right? Which was the previously used to be called the WBA super title, right? Because they got, the regular title as well, okay? So this is their main title. What I don't understand is, how did Gervonta Davis get to fight for the main title against a guy who's never fought at super featherweight before, when there was already a title holder, right, who got demoted just so Davis can have the main title, right? So there's a guy who beat Gisril Corrales, was the world title holder. Yeah. I can't remember the guy's name. He beat Gisril Corrales. He had the title, and then Davis has come along out of the blue, and suddenly the WBA has just demoted this guy. That is the corruption of boxing.
To be honest, and I know we don't get into the belts too much, but with the WBO, are you surprised? WBA, sorry, are you surprised?
No, not at all. I'm not right. He wouldn't be surprised in any of them, really.
Yeah, those guys. I mean, they're like the original inventors of this super and regular stuff. So that says a lot. What do you make of Frampton, Tom?
Yeah, the Frampton fight was a bit one-sided, wasn't it? Bit of a dominant performance from Frampton, but I didn't manage to catch all of it, just the highlights. So from what I can take, it was a pretty dominant display.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for him. Well needed, would you say, in terms of a confidence builder to get him back with the big fights with all the with all the other title holders out there?
Yeah, definitely. And with a name like Nanita Donaire, 4-time world champion, and being back in Belfast and with the atmosphere, definitely sets up, a fight at Windsor Park with possibly the winner of Selby Warrington or an Oscar Valdez. So his reputation has definitely been boosted a little bit, and obviously his confidence as well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, Top Rank are very much open to Valdez fighting Frampton, because he's holding the WBA interim belt now, so he could fight for the main title. So that option is available. I mean, who would you prefer to see him fight? The Selby Warrington winner or Valdez?
I'd like to see him fight Selby. I think Selby will come through the fight with Warrington, and obviously the domestic scene at featherweight's thriving. So it's probably, from a fan's perspective, more realistic to see them two fight. Obviously, being under the same banner, and whether Oscar Valdez will come over to the UK to fight Frampton, I'm not too sure. And I don't think Frampton's going to go.
I'm pretty sure I've read an article where they did say they are open to coming to Belfast. Yeah, because they, fighting in Belfast, they can offer a big purse to Valdez to tempt him to come over. Plus you got to bear in mind Frampton is now with BT, so the money on the table. I think they can entice Valdez, right? Can he beat Valdez?
The box office platform now that BT Sport have got, it makes those big fights possible on a pay-per-view platform.
Yeah, can he beat Valdez, Tom?
I rate Valdez. I probably think Valdez. I put Valdez as probably the best in the division, bar Santa Cruz. I think just because of his size advantage over the rest of them.
You think it's better than Gary Russell Jr.?
Quite a lot for a bit like.
You think it's better than Gary Russell and Selby?
Can't really say much from Gary Russell because no one really knows of Gary Russell in the UK. He's not like a massive name, but
that doesn't mean he's not a good fighter.
I say definitely. I think for me, I'm not gonna. I think Valdez probably can beat Gary Russell Jr. I think I'm a fan of Valdez. I know he wasn't massively. Some people weren't impressed with him in the quick fight, but for me, he got the job done. I think he showed a different element to his game in terms of a war. But I think he is one of the strongest names in that division. And I think even with the Santa Cruz fight, I think Valdez could beat him just from a pressure perspective. I think the height is always going to be, obviously, height and reach will be in Santa Cruz's advantage. But at the end of the day, Frampton got to him. And no matter what, I know people always say, his mentality at the time. But Frampton got to him. So, I think Valdez definitely has a chance against him. And what do you make of Charlo before you let you go?
Yeah, Charlo's a different breed, aren't they? Those Charlo.
Yeah.
Good performance and definitely made his mark. Big power puncher, able to systematically break fighters down as well, which will show when he comes up against a better caliber of opponent. I'd like to see him fight Jacobs. I think that would be a great fight at middleweight. But I can see him being eased into the division, against other top 10, top 15 contenders, just to, to show that he's a threat to the champions.
So, he's the interim WC belt holder now, Tom, right? And he's calling out Triple G. What do you think of this fight with Triple G with Vanis the Nightmare Martisorian, how we pronounce his surname, 154 pounds? What do you make of that?
I'd swear I've never even heard of him, being honest.
Okay, he's a 154 pound fighter who's fought for world titles a few times, never fought at 160 pounds, ex-US Olympian. He has been on the scene for a while, probably hasn't fought in a while, but he's never fought at 160. So what do you, what do you think?
Are you going to be watching this fight? Are you excited to watch this fight, or is it just like, hey, Bellew's definitely going to take all the glory on the May 5th?
No, I will be watching the Triple G fight because it is Triple G. But I think what people got to take into consideration is as well, he's had back-to-back, tough fights, tough camps. Jacobs, and then fighting Canelo, and just having not really any layoff and just having to prepare back-to-back camps. This is like an opponent that's going to be a bit easier for him to get rid of. But at least he's, in the mindset that if he does come and fight Canelo in September, he'll be more refreshed and he won't have to, put himself through tough 10, 12, 15-week training camps back-to-back. And that's a little bit of even though it's a change of opponent later on, he'll be a bit more relaxed going into a fight.
I've read the article where Canelo might not be fighting Triple G in September. But anyway, let's go to the next caller.
All right, Tom, thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries, boys.
Cheers, take care. Cheers, thank you. All right, going out to 860. 860, floor's yours.
Hello.
Hello, you alright?
Yes.
Paul.
How you doing, Paul? You well?
Paul, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good,
Long
mate.
time.
Yeah, I tell you what, I couldn't speak for about 3 weeks, so I haven't been able to ring.
Oh wow, sorry, mate. You all right? You feeling better now?
Yeah, better now, but I think the missus enjoyed the quiet.
As they always do. What's on your mind, mate? You've been silent for 3 weeks. What's on your mind?
Hey, this weekend's fighter. I think everyone's getting a bit too hyped up about Khan, personally. I just Lo Greco wasn't even ranked in the top 100.
Was he that bad?
And people, yeah, and people are mourning that Tyson Fury's comeback opponent might be that Safari, but that Safari's ranked like 50th in the world. Yet nobody berated.
Is he not a cruiserweight though?
No, I think I'm sure he's down as heavy. An Albanian heavyweight. I'm sure of it.
I've read the criticisms coming because he's a low-ranked cruiserweight.
Ah.
I mean,
he's.
I'll say with the Tyson Fury one, I have to be honest, I didn't know about the criticism, but for me, I would say I definitely wouldn't have thought he's. I would have thought whoever he fights in his comeback fight is going to be a very average opponent. So, yeah, I'm surprised that.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Amir Khan goes in with someone who's ranked out the top 100 in the world, wipes him out quickly, which is what Amir Khan does because he starts fast, doesn't he? If anyone takes him the distance, they generally do quite well against him or knock him out. But everyone's getting a bit too hyped up about it. Like I've seen people saying that he beat Spence and stuff, and
yeah, I've seen that kind of nonsense as well.
I mean, stuff like that. I think you got to ignore those guys because they clearly don't know about boxing. I think anybody that knows about boxing isn't going to say Khan's going to beat Errol Spence Jr.
Yeah.
I think that's just an obvious statement. But I think in terms of the hype, I don't think we can knock it too much because I do think one, it's half is a percentage of it which is good for boxing, and two, I think at the end of the day, Khan is a mainstream name, so you know if Quigg or Anthony Yard or Daniel Dubois or these guys, you know, at Fowler, they finish a guy in 40 seconds. It's not going to get much hype because of who they are and their position and status. Yeah. But I think with Khan, yeah, I think to be fair to him, I think he did. I think let him enjoy it. To be fair, I have to say.
Yeah, talking about another big name, it's Charles Martin's 31st birthday today. Happy birthday, Charles Martin.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I walk this earth like a god. You know?
And then what about Frampton? Do you catch much of the Frampton fight?
Yeah, I watched because that was on later. I was leaving work when the Amir Khan one was on, so I had to listen to it on the radio cycling home, and so that didn't really last long. But then when I got home, the Frampton one still hadn't even started at it, so that was quite a late burn of that one. So I managed to catch all of that, and I don't know. I like Carl Frampton. I just think he's hittable. He's still there to be hit, and he's not the biggest of featherweight. And I think if he wants to get another world title, Oscar Valdez is a perfect one to challenge because it's all action between them two. Whereas at least Selby, if he tries to go after Selby's going to beat Warrington anyway. But if he tries to go after Selby's all wrong for him. Like he's huge for a featherweight. He probably should be a super feather.
And we had him on the show, right? Paul, if you can remember, we had him on the show. And he said, I don't know why people keep on saying that, right? He said, I don't know why people keep on saying that. He said, look, you know, I'm so close I can probably make bantamweight, he's saying. Super bantamweight, sorry.
Really?
Yeah. Because everyone that used to say that, and I'm putting up. I actually asked him this on the show. He said, "I don't know why people say this, right? Because I'm literally." He actually came in under 126 pounds, right? And he says, you know, if I lost a couple of pounds, I could make super bantamweight.
Huh.
Yeah.
It just looks when you see him next to some of the other fighters, it just maybe it's a bit deceiving them.
Yeah. If you get a chance, go listen to that show again on iTunes and hear what he has to say.
Well, yeah, he just looks. I just think he is his style and everything because he's quite a skillful fighter. I just think that style's totally wrong for a Carl Frampton.
Yeah.
Carl Frampton does better against someone who comes at him and tries tries to beat him in a fight, whereas Lee Selby will probably hold off him and just counter him all night.
No, fair point. Listen, Paul, thanks for calling in. We're going to move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the support as always.
Thank you very much, Paul.
No problem.
Cheers.
See you later.
So yeah, quickly let's move on to the US card. Obviously we quickly touched on Davis. Let's move on to Charlo, especially linking in with the Jacobs fight this weekend. What did you make of Charlo's performance?
Yeah, I think it's a bit like the Khan fight. You know, you can't really make too much into it. You can't read too much into it. You know, I predicted the knockout.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean that's what he does. To be fair,
that's what he does. You know, and this guy, he's not really fought anyone of notable position.
I mean, he lost to Selecki, who's Jacobs fighting as well.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I think it was. I don't think you can read too much into it. You know,
I mean, I think I will say, I don't know. You know what I would say? You can't read too much into it because the guy is definitely not world class elite. But I think it's a little bit like Charlo's doing the job. So I'm not gonna say. I'm still not sure he can beat Triple G, if I'm being honest with you. I know he's calling for that fight, but I'm still not convinced that if he fights Triple G in September or December,
he won't hurt him at all.
I don't think so, And I know they're saying he's got the power and he does have the height, but I think he's not going to be natural when it's clear that Triple G is a hard hitter and he can take a punch, because Canelo would have been on some type of drugs and didn't wobble him at all.
Yeah.
So I don't see Charlo beating him. I think it's an interesting fight, but I definitely think, which Tom or Paul said, what's Jacobs. I think
basically
that has
Canelo
to be the
on
fight.
drugs can't hurt Triple G.
Yeah.
Charlo ain't doing nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, Charlo could barely put down a guy on one leg.
Yeah, so
His first fight at middleweight. You know,
that's what I mean. So he's not been massively impressive, but I think it's a case of, you know what, you like that knockout action.
What does Jacobs do to Charlo? And is he scared of Jacobs?
No, I don't think he's scared of Jacobs.
I think he is. Have you seen them debate?
I saw that.
He just goes quite next to Jacobs, man.
You know what I think though? I do think it's more a case of anger. I think those guys, I think they're a bit very hype, and I think it goes down. I think the way that the way that kind of confrontation happens, it needed to be. He needed
too much sometimes, isn't it?
It's too much. That's what I'm saying. And if he continued that, it was going to kick off. But I agree with you because he was hyping up before he got there. But I think that's a very interesting fight. I think Jacobs, you would probably say, would be the favourite going into that. He's a stronger puncher at the weight. He's probably going to have the physical attributes at the weight, and at the same time, I would still say that he beat arguably he beat Triple G.
Yeah.
And on that basis, if that Jacobs turns up, the one that took out Quillen, Jacobs with a high first round knockout percentage, I think
Jacobs Charlo is a big fight.
Yeah,
that's a big fight.
I think that's what they should do.
You know, they could build that into a pay-per-view fight if they wanted to.
Easily.
And I think that's what a matchmaker here is going to do. Watch.
Yeah,
Smart
that's what
cookie,
PBC.
Man.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Quickly touching on that, because I mean, I don't know if you remember. 18 months, 2 years ago, PBC, Al Heyman getting plenty of stick. Have we not seen now, like, by this weekend's card, if you look in the last 12 months from kicking off with the girl versus Badu Jack, have PBC not given fight fans, boxing fans, more than enough quality fights and matchups?
Look, man, we know this, yeah? There's some people, yeah, like with Mayweather. Fight Pacquiao. He beats Pacquiao. Yeah, Pacquiao is shit. You need to fight this guy. Oh, no, I tell you what, man. To prove you're really good, you need to fight a 175-pound fighter. You know, no matter what you do, they're always going to be. It's going to be the same people moaning. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is, man. Like, it's clear cut. Look, you're getting free boxing, man. Like, what are you moaning about?
Free
top level boxing. What is the problem?
I mean, it's a joke. Let's go out to our caller, resident. See him on the line, just dropping in on the back line, man like Diesel, Daniel, Appia, coming to the studio soon. What's up, D? Tell us, what's on your mind?
How we doing, fellas? We all good?
Yes, Dan.
We all good. How you keeping?
Yeah, very well, guys. Doing all right. Listen, great win for Khan over the weekend. I know it's only 40 seconds and that or whatever it was, but he come in there and he done the job, didn't he? He showed good speed there, like, you know, and he done the business. Hopefully he's still got a good
Does he beat Brook?
years left in him.
Daniel, can he
I'm
beat
talking
Brook?
about Khan.
Yeah.
Can he beat Brook?
Yeah.
He can beat Brook, but I think Brook will beat him. I mean, listen, at first I always thought Brook would beat him. Then after Brook had them 2 defeats, I thought, Khan will do him. But I think Brook will beat him, but it'll be a great fight. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Essentially,
it'll be a great fight.
Essentially, Brook has to try and catch him, isn't it? Is what we're saying. He's not gonna outbox him, is he?
You know what? He's got to weather. He might have to weather a couple of storms from Khan. You know what I mean? Obviously, speed and that, but Brook can box himself. Do you know what I mean? Brook, he can box. So don't underestimate his boxing ability there. But yeah, I'd have to go for Brook on that one. There's also other fights out there for Khan that would be mouth-watering, though. You know what I mean?
Such as?
Obviously, as you lot touched on it earlier with Broner, that'd be a good fight for him. I think that's a fight that Khan can win, just like you were saying. Also, what about Danny Garcia? That's a rematch that's been up in the air for a little while. So there's a few. Would you like to see Khan against Spence? I mean, that'd be an interesting contest. What do you reckon?
I think out of all of those 3, man, I would like him to see him fight Danny Garcia. I would prefer to see that fight.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the Errol Spence fight. For me, that's not a step up for Errol Spence to kind of solidify. It's a good name to make himself more popular, but in terms of competition, like, he just walks people down, and it'll be very, very tough for Khan to not feel the effects of his punches. I mean, it's fair to say that.
I mean, the only person that's going to give Spence any threat was going to be Furman.
Exactly.
Or Crawford, possibly.
Yeah, even I don't. But yeah, I hear you. D, listen, there's a bit of background noise. We're going to have to move on, but appreciate you calling in and supporting as usual.
Thank you very much,
and we'll see you soon.
Anytime. Big up your show and big up yourself, yeah? Big up everybody.
Thank you.
Him and that.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice one. Take it easy. All right, cheers.
Yeah, so going on that actually, and I just want to say, because this was my, like, obviously we were getting ready for the show and getting the thoughts, and this is why I was saying I'd like the Brook fight to be second, because I really believe it's an easy fight to make next, and it's a big money fight, which if you look at it from Khan's perspective, it definitely puts his career on a trajectory, especially if he wins. I think at that time, if he's beating Brook, I really believe that with Thurman's injury, he's got another injury, I think he's going to get potentially stripped. And I think you're going to have maybe a Garcia and a Porter, or maybe there's going to be 2 potential fights for those vacant belts that he has. It might not be a unification. You see what I mean?
Why do you think he's going to get stripped?
Well, because he's too inactive. He's inactive at the moment. He hasn't fought since beating Garcia. And if he's not looking to fight this year because apparently he's got another injury, it's nearly 18 months. I don't think it's going to be acceptable. And so I think they'll strip him. And he might be a lineal champion. He can come back and fight whoever's a champ, but I think they'll strip him. So that potentially leaves 2 belts out there, and I think there'll be 2 matches. I think at that stage, whoever wins those 2 belts, for either of those fighter, having Khan as your first defense is a fucking great matchup. And maybe if you're looking at a Garcia, he might think, I can take Khan.
I think if they strip Furman, I think one of those belts Khan will fight for.
I think, as somebody's defense. I don't think he'll fight as in the vacant position.
I don't know, because look, man, like,
because he won't get himself up the rankings. When is he going to get himself up the rankings between now?
These things are like, mate, money talks.
Yeah, money talks, but at some point you've got to have a bit of clout as well. Money doesn't talk for everybody. You've got to have a bit of clout.
Hearn's got the clout.
I mean,
so just hear me out, yeah. So the WBC, you'd think like Garcia and Porter, yeah.
Yep.
Errol Spence is gone taken. He's got an IBF belt.
WBO is going to be Hearn Crawford.
So who else is there?
Let's take a quick look.
You see what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, so Hearn with his clout behind the scenes plays his magic. He's tight with the WBA, man. We know this. We know he's tight with Gilberto Mendoza.
I mean, again, you can't argue that. I mean, yeah, you got Matisse and Pacquiao. I mean, the problem with those guys is they're definitely WBO cats. But I mean, maybe they might go for that. That's the only thing you're looking at. And I know they're fighting.
There's no one really else.
But there's Pacquiao, Vargas. So there's guys up there.
Pacquiao's fighting Matisse.
Matisse. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. There's definitely he's got a chance. But I'm just in my the way I'm looking at that timeline. I think it's more likely he could be a defense. It's for us to get the Brook fight first. So we'll see what happens like with that. But yeah, quickly going into this Jacob Selecki and obviously Big Baby Miller's facing Duhapis on Saturday in New York, Matchroom USA card. What are you thinking of those two fights?
Well, Jacobs. Well, they're both like easy fights for the Matchroom fighters, clearly, right? The Miller fight potentially leads up to an AJ fight. Jacobs, I think. Eddie Hearn's doing his typical thing of building up the brand, building up the fighter's name. Yeah. You know, I don't think we'll read into it too much tonight. It's going to be easy fights for these guys. Yeah. Build up their profile. One of them likely going to become an AJ opponent. And Jacobs, I think, is going to try and, he's going to try and get the fight with either Canelo or Triple G again. Yeah. I think that's the ultimate objective there.
Definitely. No, I hear you on that. So listen, guys, we're going to start making a move. Quick roundup of what else is taking place this weekend. So you've got Jesse Magdelanoe, unbeaten fighter, taking on Isaac Dogboe, who's also unbeaten super bantamweight, coming fresh out of Ghana, Jamestown, all those boys. But they're fighting for the vacant WBA super bantam belt. Going to be a tough ask for Dogboe, but ultimately he definitely wants that challenge. Katie Taylor is also fighting on the undercard with the Jacobs fight in New York. It's a unification fight in the women's division, so definitely exciting times for her. Outside of that, guys, stay locked, stay listening in. Back next week. This weekend, everybody knows if you want to catch the latest in boxing, you've got to go to the Instagram page of
Matchroom.
Raps on TV.
Raps on TV.
Come on, man. You've been out for such a couple of weeks, you totally forgot it. Yeah. So you got to go to the Instagram page of
Raps on TV.
And the Facebook page of
Raps on TV.
And the YouTube page of
Raps on TV.
And the Twitter page of
Raps on TV.
And don't forget to go to www.rapsontv for all the latest in boxing news. Listen, guys, big up yourself. Great weekend. And we out.
Ladies and gentlemen,